Brought to you by Baby Lock, for the love of sewing. Sulky Threads. Express yourself with Sulky and create with confidence.
Hi, I'm June Dudley with Quiltmaker magazine. Welcome to Quiltmaker's Block Network. Today we have a special guest, Eric Drexler, National Educator with Sulky of America. And he's got some fun things to show us to make foundation piecing easier.
Like KK2000 that dissipates quickly as a temporary spray adhesive, and paper Solvy that washes away, no ripping away that paper.
So Eric's going to use Diamond Crossing, which is block number 613, designed by Lisa Bassett for Quiltmaker's 100 Blocks Volume 7.
Hi, today we're talking about paper piecing and how much easier we can make it with some of our Sulky products. When I first learned how to do paper piecing, I had glue stuck all over my fingers and I was ripping paper out like crazy. It really wasn't a very nice experience for me. Couldn't wait to get home and try some of the little tips and tricks that I'm going to share with you. First, I printed the pattern 2 times onto the paper Solvy. This will be a little less waste for you. So once I've done that, I cut out my paper piecing pattern, and you're actually sewing on the line on the side with the lines on it. We're placing our fabric on the back side and layering everything up from the back. If you're a quilter, this seems a little counterintuitive, but that is how paper piecing works. So the first thing is I'm going to put the wrong side of the fabric to the wrong side of the paper, but I want to kind of line that up so I make sure that all my, I have that 1/4 inch seam allowance on all 3 of the corners and the sides. On my next piece, I'll show you how to layer that so that we can make sure that this entire piece is covered. But right now I need to adhere this piece to the piece of the paper that we have. So I've already lined it up on the front. All I need to do is just spray a little bit of KK2000 on the back, lay that back down and sandwich it down. Now at the front, or instead of flipping it back over, if you have a light board you can see it from the front, I can basically just take this with the wrong sides together now and lay that right on that seam. If you're a little over, it's okay. We're going to cut that off with that add a 1/4 ruler. But I can basically just lay that right on that seam. Audition it first to make sure it's going to cover all of my 1/4 inch points around the outside, and when I'm ready I just put a little KK2000 down that seam line. Just a quick little shot will hold it into place while we're sewing. Then when we flip this back over, we're going to sew straight down that in between the number 1 pattern and the number 2 pattern. After that we'll pull the fabric back and we'll take our add a 1/4 ruler and lay that on there and trim off that extra piece. If you're pressing your seams, you not only set your seam, but you're also dissipating the KK2000. The heat from the iron actually simulates the drying process, which goes away in 7 to 10 days anyway. So my next step that we have is one that's already finished, or not quite finished, but we've done our cutting already. This is an add a 1/4 ruler. Highly recommend getting this because it has a little lip there that actually bumps right up against your paper, so we can trim that 1/4 inch line off very neat and precisely. So once we get done, we can fold this paper back and we get that block. So this block that you see on the other side here is all trimmed down to where you see your paper lines. This is your seam allowance on the other side. So we've actually trimmed that to those paper lines. So this is half of our block finished right now. So 2 of those in the alternating color will show you on our next step. This is a finished block. This sewn to another side. You can see how these 2 pieces leave the paper in there when you're sewing. That keeps all your lines straight and keeps everything nice and crisp. So these 2 joined together with another 2 gives us what we see on our next board. So our next board has the back completely done, and the front is absolutely perfect when we get done with it. All of our points line up. This is so easy. This is a very good project to teach with grandchildren or your children, young children. When we get finished with this, what we really want to do is be able to rip away all this paper stuff that's on here. But you can see sometimes underneath some of the stitches or in the corners, it doesn't all rip away. This is with any type of paper. With the Sulky paper, this actually goes away very, very rapidly in water. Get my little bowl of water out here so we don't make a mess everywhere. I want to show you one of these pieces as it dissipates in water and how fast it goes away. This is one of my paper piecing patterns that we were working with. And this actually, if I just dip it in water and move it around, you can see how it's starting to fall apart. This is just simulating what's happening in your washing machine. And this goes into a mush, not necessarily paper, so this is not going to stay on your material. So that dissipates very, very quickly. You don't have to worry about all those little teeny tiny points. That can save you a lot of time and a lot of aggravation peeling out all that little paper. Get your big chunks off, dip the rest of it, or just wash it in the washing machine. It'll come right out for you. Okay, now you can see what the finished block looks like with all 8 of these put together. I wanted you to see what the back looked like too. I'll peel this back. This has all been rinsed out. I wanted to be able to show you without it being inside the quilt. You'd never be able to see that part, but this has all been just rinsed out, so all the solvay, the paper solvay, just disappears and falls away from the material. So now I'm left with just my fabric that I started with. Also too, you've noticed that I peeled this up. I like to use KK2000 instead of pins. If I'm doing a small project like this, I can spray the entire quilt top, lay my batting on top of that, and then spray my bottom and spray KK2000 on the lower piece and lay the batting and the top on top of that. That way, this is all held in there and I don't have to remove pins as I'm doing my quilting. So it's a dual purpose. It's temporary only because we can iron this and it all goes away, or air dry in 7 days. So that just goes away all by itself.
Finally, you can see what this block looks like when it's placed next to each other in a 3x3 setting. Thanks for joining us today on Quiltmaker's Block Network, and thank you, Eric, for joining us and showing us how to make foundation piecing a little bit easier with Sulky product.
It was my pleasure.
You can find Diamond Crossing and 99 amazing other blocks in Quiltmaker's 100 Blocks Volume 7. Hope to see you again soon on Quiltmaker's Block Network. And he's got some fabulous tips for us about foundation piecing.
You didn't say KK2000.
Yeah, that you were going to, no pins.
You were going to do KK2000, I was going to finish the paper.
Okay.
You left it to me and I didn't do it, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Do you want me to do the solvay too?
Wherever I stop.
That's my cue, okay.
Yes.
You look at me, I talk.
Okay.
Okay. I'm ready now.
See, we didn't need to rehearse this part.